Hi, I'm Rachel, and welcome to my NaNoWriMo 2025 Week 3 vlog. As I promised at the beginning of the month, I think we are reaching the transition point in a major part of my life in that I've been on furlough, since the beginning of October due to the US government shutdown. But as of last night, the U.S. Congress has approved, measures for more funding for the government, and the president has signed it in, so the government is reopening. And this, of course, in a broad sense, is just a relief to, so many people, workers and people who rely on, federal services. So, it's a relief to get back into the swing of things. I am technically still on furlough. I'm a contractor and I'm waiting for the official okay from my company because they have to, liaise with the government to say exactly when they want to start up all of our contracts again. So I'm still a little bit in a, wait and see capacity, but, the ground is a little firmer beneath my feet now. I'm assuming that I will not be back to work tomorrow. I'm assuming right now anyway, but maybe Monday is definitely looking, a lot more possible. And I'm left with the fact that, now I am going into the latter half of the month with a lot less free time on my hands. Work will be a big, strain on my time, and strain feels like the appropriate word because, not only will I be going back, but we're going to have to, scrabble through the rubble to see where we left off and what to do now. So, I'm feeling kind of bad, in a way, just because, I'm doing good with the word count. I'm doing pretty good. I'm staying on top of it, but, I could be higher, and so, give myself a little more grace in the next 2 months, but I don't think that's how it's going to roll. And maybe that's going to be okay, because the truth is, even though, my schedule's going to look a fair bit different, I've done Nano every other year with school or a job or both, and I've come out on top. And I do feel like, I should go back to what I think I've said before, that structure can be helpful. And so I will find a way to make it through, and we will continue on and make it to the 50K. That is the goal. Meanwhile, I am also relieved that I don't have to work today because I do, in fact, have a book club to attend this afternoon very soon. I'm about to get that set up. It's online. I'm with my synagogue book club and Israel book group. We're reading Israel Alone by Bernard Henri Levy. And it's a really slight little book, and I'm looking forward to, everyone's thoughts to, help garner my own appreciation of the book. I'm also realizing with this book that I am in fact participating in Nonfiction November this year, so huzzah for that. And otherwise, I do have tentative plans for tomorrow that will help bolster some of my other NaNoWriMo goals, assuming, as I do, that I won't be working tomorrow either, but it would be a good time then to continue on with all of these other projects. So we'll see how it goes. As always, I will be taking you along with me on the journey. Just some quick thoughts on the 2025 Goodreads Choice Awards. The opening round was recently posted. I could eat my hat for not having read Dream Count in time. I have the book signed and on my physical shelves. I also tried to get to Isola this month, but the holds line at the library was just too long. Coulda, woulda, shoulda read The Strength of the Few and its prequel. Seems like these are going to be kind of classic epic fantasy, I hope. And coulda, woulda, shoulda read Shroud because I've been pining for some space opera, and Adrian Tchaikovsky is definitely on my list. And finally, the only book I've actually read out of any of these, and I will be voting for it, is Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. It's not my favorite Hunger Games book, but being a Hunger Games book, it is still above the curve for me. This is the hill I will die on. I really enjoyed it. So, update, I did recently hear from my HR department that I will be returning to work on Monday. And so I went ahead and did something rather questionable that I was putting off. I bought tickets to a play that I figured I'd want to see, because usually around this time of year I see plays at Theater J for my Jewish DC vlog. but I was putting it off because, play tickets are kind of expensive, and I haven't been employed or, working with a job for the last 40 days, but anyway, now I feel like because I will be going back in the near future, maybe that justifies things. So, long story short, I'm about to go off to see an ISBN play. We are at the midpoint of NaNoWriMo. It is day 15, and it's a Saturday, and it's a little overcast out here because the sun doesn't seem to be coming in as significantly as usual. Anyway, I am looking at my normal Saturday schedule that in the afternoon I will go to my writer salon, and my plan is to tackle, I think, chapter 9 it is now of my project. I don't know why I'm having trouble keeping up with the numbers. The big thing I believe about this chapter in particular is that when I first wrote it, I was really lazy and haphazard with a fantasy idea where I have my character in this enchanted forest where she's sort of losing her memory. Everybody in this situation has lost their memories. It's a lost boy situation, basically. So they don't know anything anymore about the real world, and that's the situation my character is transitioning into. And it's also a situation where, like in Neverland, time doesn't mean much. You don't know what year it is and that sort of thing, because you stay the same age. So yeah, anyway, you can see the parallels, and it's just I was really haphazard with trying to write this transition in earlier drafts, and I remember some of the pointed criticism I got from my beta reading group about how the transitions could be better and I could be more internal with my character, which usually I feel like I don't have much trouble with, which hopefully is a good thing, because I'm coming into this new draft and I have some ideas about how to change things up, and so hopefully I can denote this experience of losing time, but be more artful about it. I guess that is, after all, the point of fiction, and particularly fantasy fiction, to make something really magical and unreal in the extreme seem real. So yeah, it's always good to have a challenge. I'm just gonna move forward, maybe remind myself this isn't the final draft. I just need to make it better, make it into a more palatable place, and then, I'll move on to, the rest of my draft, and then I'll, continue to polish and make things better, time and time again. Setting a questionable precedent the evening before I return to work, I meant to be finished with this book, and so far am not. But what are you gonna do? Anyway, I am getting through it, and this is a book about, I guess ostensibly, a picture company, a motion picture company in the middle of the century, or starting at more near the beginning of the 20th century, or at least in the 20s, and about the people around it, starting with perhaps a assistant turned producer named Maria, who, with her mother, flees to America from Italy in the 1920s after her father is put under house arrest, as it were, for being a lawyer who stands up to Mussolini in an anti-fascist way. So we actually jump around a bit. We follow Maria in the 20s as a kid, then 15 years later as she joins Mercury Pictures, first as an assistant and then going into a more producer role. We even follow her father, who's living in internal exile, that's the phrase, and some of his associates who as part of his life at that time, including one young man who's able to flee Italy and find his daughter, who has been blaming herself for her father's condition. Then we're also following Artie, who's a fast-talking, co-owner of the picture company, having a midlife crisis in various ways, seen as an enemy of the people, basically, until, for being a pro-war profiteer, as they call it. But then, one of his pictures actually starts to air the night before Pearl Harbor. So then his fortunes flip, and now the U.S. wants him to make propaganda films. And finally, we're also following various people working for Mercury Pictures who are now labeled enemy aliens, so mostly Germans and Italians. And there's also commentary, like Maria's dating a Chinese American who's been in the country forever and is still seen as an outsider. And I guess we'd see if what'll happen if they actually run into any Japanese Americans in this film, this book. But anyway, it's an interesting story, creative, but I'm not falling for it as hard as I'd like. I just am finding it a little too fleeting, and I'm not connecting as much with the characters as I hope to, but I still feel like the actual story is something kind of unique and special.
Good morning. It is day 17 of NaNoWriMo. It is a Monday, and for the first time this month, I have to go into work. My furlough is officially over. So I really should make this short and sweet because I got to get my, mind back on track here. I'm a little nervous, to get back into the swing of things. I'll try to take things one step at a time. I'm grateful to be able to go to the salon as usual after work. I do believe a fair amount of people will be doing a feedback session we do occasionally, but I'll be going there to write, definitely to write. And my Saturday session went a little differently than planned. It was chapter 9 I was writing, or, revising, but actually this is the first chapter I've kind of have to pretty much completely overhaul, at least so far. I've done like the first half of it, and I haven't even gotten to the part yet where I'm denoting sort of the change in, time and memory, which I think I'm going to do in first person because most of the book is in third person. I haven't even gotten to that. I'm almost there at that point where I want to make that change, but I've had to rewrite other parts as well, the setup parts, and it's been kind of interesting. Things have changed a little bit. Even relationship stuff I ultimately shifted a little bit, like between my main character and the character who will come to sort of represent this subplot to her. The relationship changed a little bit, but hopefully I'll make everything work. It's a little tighter now. I'm having less, ramblingness about, themes or what I'm thinking about, and sort of more stuff, happening within the present of the story. So I'm still working on that same chapter, which it's a little bit of a shame. I was hoping to do like a chapter a session. I am thinking in the future I might, definitely want to amp up, working on more chapters outside of the salon as well, and hopefully we'll see a little more forward movement there as well. But for the time being, yes, I'll take things one step at a time. So, first, gotta get to work and reacclimated to what's going on there, and then I will be tackling this shift in time in chapter 9, which I guess this is all very apropos for the moment.
is the next day, day 18 of Nano, and I would have filmed this earlier. I was expecting to work from home today because I actually usually work from home on Tuesdays, but a colleague wasn't feeling well and I had to go in to cover. And probably, I don't know, maybe it was the best thing because, after so many weeks off, it was probably good to, be somewhere else to work for a while. So anyway, it kind of worked out. What didn't work out so much is I wasn't working on my novel afterwards. I just, being at work put me in a strange headspace after all this time, so I focused on NaNoWriMo because I'm doing some of that stuff, I don't know, based on furlough stuff. So, but I'm allowing myself, I'm a nano rebel, so I can allow myself a little more flexibility there. So that's what's going on. I do intend to do more of the novel writing, and once I've run out of NaNoWriMo stuff, I'll be ticking that off the list, but then I'll have to still fill the rest of the words. So it's definitely my goal to get a bit more into the novel writing too, outside of my salon hours. So anyway, I'm just giving myself a little grace here, as we are in a strange transition right now into the workforce too. But the words are coming, but I am, slowing a little. It's a little more of a struggle, obviously, to stay on top of things, but I'm still in the game here, and still expect to cross that finish line. Positive attitude. Always has to be a positive attitude. Here's another Novel November webinar to wrap up my week 3 vlog. This one is about the magic middle, or I'd call it the murky middle, and it's put out by one of the Save the Cat writers. And admittedly, I'm not at the middle part of my revisions yet, but I can use all the help possible once I get there, so looking forward to this one.
Okay, so let's get into the middle. First, let's kind of sum up where you should be. If you're starting in the middle, and I'm going to define the middle as, in Save the Cat terms, the fun and games, the midpoint, and the bad guys close in. It's kind of that section. It's that goes from, it does the bulk of Act 2 is what it does. I'm going to define that as the whole middle. It's not just the midpoint, but because you could be anywhere. You could be kind of lost in the fun and games right now. You could be at the midpoint, or you could be just past the midpoint. Before you get into the fun and games, there's a beat in Save the Cat, if you know it, and it's called the break into 2. And the break into 2 is a moment of, it's kind of a push that gets the reluctant hero from the debate that just, their life has been changed to commit and go forward with the story. And the truth is, it makes them commit to the story DNA. And this is another tie back to that crucial story DNA. So at the break into 2, one of your checklist items should be, if somebody was reading your book, you should be able to say, okay, stop on the break into 2. Okay, I need to ask you a question. Who's the hero of the story right now on that page? What's their goal? What's in the way? And what happens if they fail? They should be able to do that before you get into Act 2. That should be the break into 2. Now, there are slow burn stories. Again, I wrote Save the Cat Writes Horror. I have a whole long section on slow burn stories because horror stories are full of slow burns. And those play a little differently. You might be stuck in those somehow. But most stories, they do this very, very clearly. Hero, goal, obstacle, stakes, then Act 2 starts, okay? So what does that mean? That means when you get to Act 2, there's a question in the reader's mind. Will the hero overcome the stakes and achieve the goal, or will the horrible thing happen? That should be planted before they flip the page to Act 2.